Guiding light is all I know. Through wood and steel, through fire and lace, I'm blessed to walk within your grace. Fein is to a throig arcane. You laid the path before me, you guided every step. Raise the hammer, string the bow, her gift is all I need to know. Through toil and trial, through heart and hand, her grace builds up this mighty land. Is the grass the dead time it's sore? Don't find it empty, our cry is near. By the grace of the goddess we are free. We'll build the land, our hearts within. From dawn till dusk, I work, I strive. With your blessing, I'll survive. The loom, the forge, the sword, the grain in your name, I rise again. Futsa and Nirt, Futsa and Chiel, got Bua, got Tolan, got Trio. In you lies strength, in you lies skill. Each victory, each talent, each trial. Great, no skill too small. Your gifts, dear goddess, guide us all. Dandusiolas, Milatrua, Ahledulaim, fade our nights into falls. Without your light, we have no guide, but with your hand, our place abide. String the bow, her gift is all I need to know. Through toil and trial, through heart and hand, her grace builds up this mighty land. Is the grass the dead time it's sore? To find it until our greatest day. By the grace of the goddess we are free. We'll build the land, our hearts within. To walk within your grace, blessed by her grace, forever, forever.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Pax Dei, The Search for Steel. I'm your host, Daniel. And I'll be taking you through another subject. The last subject was adaptation. Very important. Resilience was before that. Critical thinking before that. We have an entire selection of, I wouldn't say it's self-help, but some would say that. Mostly it's a meandering down the ancient philosophers of the world, compiling all that ancient wisdom and proving it out in modern thinkers and modern research. Seems to be happening. No one seems to be talking about it. So I decided to bring it up. Why reinvent the wheel, they say. I don't know who came up with that, but it's a true statement. Nonetheless. Well, tonight's episode is the need for an inner compass in a destructive world. Gotta love it. Or the title, Your Inner Compass. Build a life of meaning with core values. I like both titles, but to be honest, let's all face it. In a world that's saturated with notifications, endless news feeds, and rapid-fire change, it's easy to feel adrift or distracted. Modern life bombards us with distractions and pressures. From the ping of an email to the lure of the latest trend. all pulling our attention in thousands of directions. No wonder that many of us sometimes lift our heads, look around, and wonder, what is all this for? In our rush for daily life, and we're the rush for daily life, we can lose sight of what truly matters. As one author put it, quote, in a world of distractions, it's easy to lose sight of what truly matters. Aligning our actions with our values is an essential step in leading a fulfilling and purpose-driven life. So when you're caught up in the tasks and to-dos without a clear inner compass, we risk wandering aimlessly or chasing goals that leave us empty. But I can do that tagline better. Let's see if I can do it. In a world of distractions, it's easy to lose sight of what truly matters. I love that voice. So props to, I can't remember his name, so forgive me on that. But he did a lot of trailers, and he was amazing at it. I can only hope to get even an eighth of the bass that he had. But anyway, at anywhere, right? That's what we're going to do tonight. And we are also trying to gather just resources for the verse 3 edit. I'm not sure the way they've structured the Discord in Pax Dei. This is early access. If you're not familiar with the game, it's an awesome game. Get it, play it, love it. It's a great game. It's socially a great game. You can make it a great game. And a lot of the teachings that I prescribe, or I ascribe the teachings that I give you, the recommendations that I give you to apply to the worlds in MMORPGs. So in this case, we're the early development or early access. Developers need to change some massive things. So they do these verses, right? They're changing the universe completely. And when they do that, they have to wipe the servers. They don't totally dismiss the players or the people who are helping them develop. I wouldn't say we're players yet because it's not version 1. We play the game, of course, but we're giving continual feedback is the adaptation that one might ascribe to our situation versus, say, EVE Online. It's EVE Online, people give feedback for sure, but the developers know the direction they're going, they know how to balance everything, et cetera. They might take a few suggestions here and there, but when you're in an early access game, the developers focus on, what didn't work for the players, what works for the players, what's the balance of the gear for the players, what are the players seeing that the devs don't have the opportunity to see. It's just basically extra eyes in the world that you're creating. So verse 3 is coming out, and one of the things they did in when they went from verse 1 to verse 2, which we're living in today, is they gave us this refunded items list. And I'm hoping they do that same thing. I don't need all these things, so I'm assuming these will just disappear. But what I really want to do is I want to take the, if I have that opportunity again, I want to take as much wood, I want to take as much sand, I want to take as much clay as I can to the new world if they are giving me this opportunity to put it in a, what do we call it? A refunded items list. I forget what they call it. They do call it something different. If you have any questions of the game, give me a quick text, LinkedIn, and just put @Pax Dei so I know it's Pax Day question. Or and because there's a lot of bots on LinkedIn. They really need to clean that up. X is the same way. So if you put @Pax Dei or hashtag Pax Dei, I'll be able to know what you're talking about, or episode 142, whatever you want to do, just to identify that, hey, you have a question, and I'll know to answer it. There are a lot of bots on X, but not as many. I'm really small on X, so if you do get an opportunity, go ahead and follow me on X. And on YouTube, give me a subscribe and that notification bell. And also, share with your friends if you have people who are going through times. They don't have to be tough times. They just could be times of transition. All right, so we're gonna gather wood. That's our main objective right now. Wood is our objective. And that way I don't have to spend time to gather wood in the new verse. And also I'm looking for resin as well. So resin is very important, and it's very hard to get. I hope they change that a little bit in the in verse 3, because it's freaking impossible. But you need resin, a lot of resin, to do your fletching. So if you don't have fletching, these little sapwoods also provide that resin in greater chances. So that's why I'm going after these smaller trees. There we go. All right, let's see. So let's get back to the topic at hand, right? So why do our values matter so much today? Well, consider how unpredictable the world is. Industries evolve overnight, social norms shift, and personal circumstances can change in an instant. In such an environment, our core values act like our stabilizing force, our internal North Star, if you will. They're the fundamental beliefs and principles that we hold dear. These are our deepest priorities. When everything outside is in flux, staying true to our values helps us navigate uncertainty with confidence and integrity. Just as a physical compass helps a lost hiker find direction, our values serve as an inner compass, keeping us oriented toward what we find meaningful and important. They ground us, reminding us why we do what we do and how we want to show up in the world. Think of times when you faced a tough decision or a major life change, or even how you respond to personal conflict. I just passed what I was I'm kind of looking at my notes. Where was I? Looking at my notes. No, so let me re-say it. I totally missed it. So think of times when you faced a tough decision or major life change. Perhaps you have had to choose between two job offers, or decide whether to move to a new city, or even how to respond to a personal conflict. In those moments, beyond the pros and cons lists, I mean, we've all been there. I have to check my audio, sorry. I will take a moment to check my audio. Yeah, we're good. All right. I've had it in the past where I didn't check my audio and it was like just silent me playing the game. The desktop audio worked, so you had the sound of the game, but it was just basically 2 hours of me playing the game. Absolutely no content, no narration or at all, no commentating. Anyway, so you have we want to look beyond the pros and cons list. There was likely a quiet voice inside you pointing you toward one option, and that voice is the voice of your values. Often, for example, if you value family, you might choose a job that lets you be home on the evenings and weekends. If you value adventure, you might move to a new city for a fresh experience. If honesty is a core value, it will guide you to speak up in a conflict rather than stay silent. We each have a inner moral and emotional GPS that wants to steer us toward life that feels right in our gut. When we ignore it, we feel off course, or just anxious or conflicted. When we follow it, we gain a sense of alignment, purpose, and peace of mind. We've all been there. I'm sure I'm not saying anything new. I'm just putting it in a different context. Importantly, core values aren't about achieving perfection or impressing others. They're about authenticity. Living in line with our values means being true to ourselves. In the words of psychologist Emily McGowan, quote, values are guiding principles that can inform how we move about our lives. They are a compass we can turn to when faced with difficult decisions. And I called this podcast The Inner Compass because developing strong value systems truly lets you become your own guide rather than being swept up in the currents of fates or fears. You gain the ability to chart your own course. In an era, I was about to put that voice to it. In an era when many feel unmoored, whether due to technological distractions or social upheavals or personal life changes, knowing your core values is like carrying a steady light within you. It cuts through the fog and confusion. So, as you could expect, this topic is not going to be one podcast. I'm going to have to do this through several podcasts. But by the end of our journey, you'll not only understand your own core values more deeply, but you'll also have concrete tools to live them out day to day. In this age of distraction and change, you can find clarity and direction. You can learn to navigate life's twists and turns by the light of what truly matters to you. So in these episodes that follow, we invite you to get comfortable, take a breath, and step away from the noise for a while. Let's begin the process of tuning into your inner compass, the quiet, guiding force that will help you build a life of meaning, passion, and integrity, no matter what the external world throws your way. So, let's begin with the defining what matters. Where am I? I'm like all over this map right now. I'm totally randomizing, cutting down trees. If you ever play this game, you'll wanna pay attention. You don't have to pay attention completely, but it is nice when you do pay attention. And I'm just gonna go around this guy's house. This is Platt's house. I think it's Platinum is his full name. I'll let you know. Yeah, Platinum. He's a good guy. I like him. Master builder. So, we're going to embark on this personal exploration, defining and discovering your core values. And how, think of it as crafting a map for your inner compass. What exactly are core values? How do we clarify what ours are? We often hear phrases like, live your values, or know your values. But many people struggle to pinpoint them. Don't worry, we'll break it down step by step with practical exercises to help you identify what matters to you. And there's 8 billion people on the earth. We all have different core values. Isn't that shocking? We might have similar ones, but everybody is different, and that's okay. That is A-okay, and expected. So what are core values, and what aren't they? So let's start with a clear definition. Core values are the fundamental qualities or principles that you believe are most important in life. The ideals that you strive to live by. They're not about what you do for a living, but how you do and why. I already had a room. Let's see what I got. Yeah, I usually don't bring back the bees hives, but I have a feeling in the next iteration of verse 3, I'm going to need them. So let's carry them. So, one psychology source defines values as qualities or characteristics that we want to bring into our actions every day. They help us become who we are most proud to be. In other words, values describe how you want to behave as a person. That is, I value honesty, so I strive to be truthful. They also, so basically what you want to stand for and what you find inherently meaningful or worthy in life, that is value, or your values. It's important to distinguish values from goals as well. Appended trees. A goal is a specific achievement, like run a marathon or get a promotion at work. Those are goals. They're not values. Goals are outcomes. They can be checked off the list, essentially. Think of them that way. Values, however, are guiding principles that you practice ongoingly. Let me look to my screen. I have to look back and forth because my notes are on the other screen. And this was a complex subject, so I did a lot of research on this, and I really like doing the research on these because through the research, I'm learning as well. Sometimes it's nice to just be reminded of some of these things, right? You might have known them, you might have your values already set, but sometimes you want to revisit them. Or not revisit, but you want to be reminded, right? I'm looking for a. I know where. This house is really hard to navigate, but it looks cool. I'm running up these stairs. It took me a long time to be able to do that. There we go. And I'll just dump everything in here for the sake. It doesn't matter where they go, honestly. I'm gonna get them in the in that little thing I did at the beginning. That means that I'm going to be able to. They're going to stack them for me or tell me my count. And we're around again. The goddess is plentiful. Anyway. So, you can never simply check a value off as, quote, done, right? If a goal is a destination, values are the direction you choose to travel. Imagine you're navigating by the stars. Reaching the North Star itself isn't the aim, but it guides you on your journey northward. Similarly, if one of your core values is health, you will continually make choices to eat well and stay active. Not to finish being healthy, but because health is an ongoing priority. If you value learning, you don't stop just because you graduated. You keep seeking knowledge throughout life. This distinction is freeing. It means that you can live your values right now, every day, in small ways, regardless of whether big goals have been achieved or not. Values are about the process of life, how you live, not a one-time product. Also, Values are not the same as societal expectations or others' demands. They are freely chosen by you rather than imposed by somebody else. If you've ever said, quote, I feel like I should value this, but in my heart, I value something else. You know the tension between the external pressures and the authentic values. For example, your family tradition, maybe your family tradition is very competitive, and you feel pressure to value achievement above all. But deep down, you might feel compassion and collaboration more. Part of defining your inner compass is giving yourself permission to claim your own values, distinct from what others say you should care about. Core values might align with your culture or family, or they might differ. What matters is that they're truly yours. Finally, values are different from personality traits or interests. Love gaming or being an extrovert, that's not a core value in itself. But may reflect some values. For instance, you might love gaming because you value imagination and challenge, or you're extroverted because you value connection and community. Likewise, your job title or role, doctor, artist, parent, gamer, isn't a value. The values are found in how you aspire to perform those roles. A doctor might value helping others. An artist might value creativity or expression. A parent might value nurturing and responsibility. By separating values from surface level labels, we get to the heart of who we are. Where am I? There I am. I'm playing in the Windows version. I didn't put it as full screen. So why are we? You might ask. I can't I just feel my way through life? Why explicitly define my values? Well, here's why, and it's worth doing. When you clearly know your core values, decision-making becomes easier and more confident because you have an internal criterion to measure options against. Instead of being pulled solely by immediate rewards or fears, you can ask, which choice best aligns with my principles? And what kind of life do I want to lead? I am trying to navigate a screen and look at my notes as well. This, when you ask those questions, they can reduce your regret and second guessing. Research even shows that clarifying your values can reduce stress. People who take time to affirm what's important to them handle challenges with more resilience. And we have a whole episode on resilience. Go check it out. Let me take a sip of stevia, or Zevia. It's not sponsored spot. Anyway. One study, even a brief writing exercise about one's values lead to lower physiological stress responses during pressured situations. It seems that when we're grounded in our values, we're psychologically steadier in the face of difficulties. Moreover, knowing your values enhances your sense of identity and confidence. You develop what psychologists call an authentic inner compass. Essentially, a strong sense of self that isn't easily swayed by peer pressure or shiny distractions. This authenticity is not only personally rewarding, where am I? It also positively affects how others see you. People tend to respect and trust individuals who clearly stand for something and live consistently. Think back. Think about it. Leaders or friends you admire. Chances are they have a reputation for certain principles, be it integrity, kindness, courage. Oh, somebody's there. We'll wave to him. That's platinum. So, and these leaders stick to it, right? By identifying your own core values, you're going to set yourself up to become that kind of grounded, principled person. So now let's roll up our sleeves and let's do some discovery. This is a guided exercise portion. You may want to grab a journal or open a notes app, or just think about it and write it down later. We'll use a few journaling prompts and visualization techniques to help you uncover your values. Don't worry about getting this perfect. This is an ongoing exploration. The goal is to start shining a light on what resonates most deeply in you, or with you, if you will. Wow. So, yeah, that's platinum. I heard him. That's funny. So, peak experiences and joy. Begin by reflecting in moments of your life when you truly felt happy. I'm talking truly, or happy, proud, or fulfilled. Times when you thought, yes, this is what life's about. Even if just for a moment, jot down a few such memories. They could be big events like graduation, a victory, helping someone in need, or small everyday moments. I'm glad you don't get crushed by a tree, by the way. Where am I? So small everyday moments like a great conversation, or a time you stood up for yourself, or a creative project you love doing. For each memory, ask yourself what value was present that made that experience so rewarding. For example, if you felt proud to finish a group project at work, maybe your underlying values were teamwork and accomplishment. If a memory is of traveling solo and feeling free, perhaps you value adventure and independence. A moment of comforting a friend in a crisis might point to compassion or loyalty. Write down any value words that seem to fit each happy or proud memory. Patterns may start to emerge. So, here's the second part. Times of anger or upset. This might sound counterintuitive, but our negative reactions can also illuminate values. Think of a few times you felt very upset, angry, or disappointed by something or someone. Often, intense emotion is a signal that a core value has been violated, either by others or ourselves. Did you feel furious when you saw someone being bullied? That could indicate that you deeply value justice or kindness. Were you very upset with yourself for breaking a promise? That points to you being valuing integrity and trustworthiness. Maybe you felt sick to your stomach after gossiping about someone, or perhaps valuing loyal. This is perhaps valuing loyalty or respect for others. List those incidents and ask, what value was being stepped on? This isn't a dwell on the negative, but it's to clarify what you care about protecting in life. What I'm doing now, just to highlight the game, is I'm looking at the stacks. What the game doesn't do is automatically add to the max stack in your inventory. So I have to pick up the fallen excess, and then the developers will allow the inventory to calculate. But until then, you just drop the excess, and you have to go ahead and pick up the excess. And so I look at my inventory and pick up the excess. Okay. All right, let's continue on. So 3, admired characters and heroes. Consider people you admire most. That's easy, right? We all admire somebody. They might be real figures, family members, mentors, or public figures. They can even be fictional characters from books, games, and movies. Who do you find yourself looking up to and why? I noticed. I did that and I was like, I'm headed back. Why am I chopping down a tree? That's all right. Oh, I just realized what I was doing. Totally missed that jump. Parkour. This is me just totally. Oh my gosh. Forward physics. There we go. There we go. Man, that was a rough time to get up here. Yeah, do this, and then we can get back into the conversation. So what are you thinking? Are you going to work on identifying your values, or are you already at the point where you know them? And that's great. That's awesome. I definitely would. After this episode, as I was researching, I was going to start it, but then I realized if I do that, then I would never be able to write the episode. So I'll be doing. I'll be taking part in this as well. I see a lot of benefit to it, and I've been on this earth for a while. And I think it's time to revisit some of those values I think I have. Or am I reacting to something that I might not? All right, so we're admiring the characters, right? Who do you find yourself looking up to and why? That's the basic question for your journal. Write a few names down. Now, for each, describe what characteristics or behaviors of theirs inspire you. As one journaling prompt puts it, who are your heroes, living and dead, fictional or real, and what values do they embody that resonate with you? Now, one of the things I want to point out is you don't have to know, especially historical figures, even philosophers that I use. I don't do investigations on everything they did in their life. There's conjectures. People who may or may not have liked them that pass down in written word something slanderous. So I don't worry about that. I only take what I like about them, right? So keep that in mind. Maybe you love a video game character who always helps an NPC in need. Or which reflects benevolence, right? Or you admire a historical leader like Mahatma Gandhi for his courage and his need for nonviolent disobedience or peace, right? He was very, very much for peace. A grandparent might have shown hard work and generosity. In your favorite MMO guild, perhaps a player is known for fairness and leadership. And you respect that, right? But identifying the virtues in others that stir you, you get clues to your own values and the ones you hold dear. So here's a good one. I when I was researching, I thought I'd throw this in here because it's one of those okie dokie. It's called the magic wand question. It's from what I researched. It's a classic therapy exercise to reveal your values. So here it goes. Imagine you had a magic wand and could instantly create your dream life with no worry about money, fear, or obstacles. There's no disingenuous genie trying to trip you up on how you word it and getting you the gotcha moment. What would you do with your days? How would you behave? And what impact would you have on others or the world? Take a moment to envision this vividly. Would it be you traveling the world, learning about different cultures, which value adventure or learning, right? That would be valuing adventure and learning. Or perhaps running a charity to help the homeless, which would be compassion and service. Or maybe you'd spend time making art. Creativity and beauty would be your values, right? Or you'd simply ensure that you have lots of time with family and friends. You would have the values of love and connection. This exercise shifts focus from reducing what you dislike to what you care about, right? List the elements of your magic wand life, and next to each, write the value it represents. This paints a picture of what an ideal life anchored in your values might look like. And here's let's use some technology. Let's use what do we call it? A neutral third party. There's a lot of AI out there, and some of them are very, very good. I personally like ChatGPT. I like Grok 3. I use Copilot at work. It's not too bad. It's not too bad. I use DeepSeek, but not in the traditional sense. It's in my Cling subscription. But I use it, right? I wouldn't use it for this, but ChatGPT and Grok 3 for sure, right? And maybe Copilot. And you can write these down, this magic wand question, and ask the neutral third party, what values would you attribute psychologically to this assessment, to my assessment, right? Maybe you don't have to, is what I'm getting at. Maybe you don't have to attribute the values. Maybe that's what you're seeking. So you come up with the scenario and let the third party see how the third party reacts, right? All right, so let's go on to future self-visualization. And I'm a big advocate for technology. I'm not a doomsayer on technology. Can it happen? You have to consider all possibilities. We can talk AI another episode, but let's continue with values. So the future self-visualization. So another guided imagery exercise. If you're comfortable, close your eyes for a moment, not while you're driving. Imagine yourself far in the future, say 10 to 20 years from now, or even at the end of a long life. Picture that you are happy and content. looking back on your life that you've led, right? You're happy and content looking back. Now ask yourself, you ask your future self, what mattered most in my life? What values that I lived by? I'm trying to look at all the questions. What values did I live by that gave me a sense of meaning and pride? What might you imagine your 80th birthday celebration, where loved ones are toasting to the person you are? What you do, what do you hope they say about you? Perhaps they say, she was so kind-hearted, she always put others first. Or, he had such integrity, you could always trust his word. Or, they were passionate and creative, always true to themselves. Take a moment with this vision. Often, this perspective helps clarify things like status or material success that fade away let me say it a different way. This helps clarify that things like status or material success fade away in importance, while character and relationships rise to the top. Now, jot down those values that you came up with in this visualization. This is essentially defining what a meaningful life is, or a life of meaning is. Which means, what does it mean to you personally as well? And again, write it in AI. And if you don't want to attribute those values yourself, see what the AI comes up with. And if the AI is like, well, it gives you values, and you're like, yeah, that's not what I was thinking. Have a chat with the AI. Say, hey, no. I was thinking, because of the story, I had these values. And see what it comes up with. Have that, you can have the conversation with a personal friend. I would use AI personally, but that's me. As you engage in these reflections and writing exercises, you might end up with a long list of value words, and that's perfectly okay. For the start, where am I? Where am I? I need. Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna head back. There we go. There's just a lot of stuff. Okay. So common core values. I said that in a way that it doesn't sound good. So let me break it up. So common core values include things like honesty, loyalty, compassion, courage, respect, freedom, security, curiosity, faith, and fairness, and so on. Don't worry if your list is big. We'll refine it. The key is that every item on your list should instinctively feel important to you. Not just intellectually good, but important in your heart. This is one place where your feelings need to be attributed, right? You're not as stoic in this time. Oh boy, am I running out of stuff? Let me do this and get back into it. Sorry. I have to look at the screen the entire time I do this because I have to actually block. And I'm really just resource gathering, so my apologies for the gaming. But honestly, if you think about it, this gaming is primo stuff. Why do you say that? One is it's beautiful, right? It's absolutely beautiful. There we go. And then I'll head to get more. When you're beginning on this game, this is basically, you do a lot of this. And you don't have the axe that I have, so it's not as productive. Anyway, So you might feel a little emotional or energized reading some of the words. That's good. That's a sign you've hit on something that's core to yourself. So let's talk a little bit about refining those core values, finding the true North Stars. So look at your list. Now that you have that raw list of values, let's refine it. Ultimately, it's helpful to identify a handful of core values, the few that are most central to your life. Try prioritizing everything. Trying to prioritize everything means you don't prioritize anything. As researcher Brene Brown suggests in her leadership workshops, you should whittle your values down to a list of just 2 core values that truly anchor you. And she means it, just 2. With maybe a few others as supporting actors. This may sound extreme, but her point is that if you claim to have 10 or 15 core values, you can become too scattered to honor all of them effectively. For example, you might list family, career, success, right? Adventure, creativity, community, fitness, spirituality, etc. All are great, but in moments of conflict, you'll need to know which trump the others for you. Narrowing it at this point will force you, right, to reflect, right? So the question you have to answer is, what do I truly hold above all else? Well, step 1, identify themes and group similar values. So look at your brainstormed values and see if some cluster together or even overlap. For instance, you might have... I thought I missed that. So you might have written honesty, transparency, authenticity, and these are all closely related. All part of being truthful, really. That cluster could be distilled into 1 core value, whichever word resonates most. In our example, let's say it's integrity in this case, encompassing honesty and authenticity. Or you have a love, family, friendship, community on your list. Well, all those relate to connection or relationships. If you wrote learning, growth, or curiosity, those form a cluster. Perhaps call it growth or wisdom. Justice, equality, fairness might be one theme. Independence, freedom, autonomy is another cluster. Try to consolidate your list by themes until you have maybe 5 to 8 broader categories. Step 2, prioritize what resonates most. Now here comes the tough but illuminating part. Rank those 5 to 8 in order of importance, or at least mark the top 3. One technique is to imagine hypothetical scenarios where you have chosen between the values, or you have to choose between the values. For instance, if you've identified adventure and security as 2 values, ask yourself, would I rather live a life that's safe but routine, or one that's risky but full of new experiences? Your gut might tell you which you'd regret losing more, or if career success versus family are 2 values, right? Then envision a conflict, like a big promotion that requires more travel versus time at home. Which value would likely win for you? These thought experiments can be challenging. Absolutely. That's the whole point of them, right? If they were easy, then we wouldn't be doing this exercise. And sometimes you can balance your values in creative ways, but but they help reveal your true hierarchy of values. That's what we're trying to get into, right? The hierarchy of values. As you do this, remember, there's no right or wrong answers. Hold on. I hate when they teleport. What the hell? Oh, I see what's going on. Alright, so when I fight, I need to be in full screen because my cursor's like all over the. Alright, let's see if that worked. I don't even know where I was. That's a ton of damage. Right. Getting rid of this. There we go. Anyway, where were we? Oh, so we were saying that these core values are there's no right or wrong. These core values are deeply personal. Two people can have opposite priorities and both be living in perfectly valid, meaningful lives for themselves. For example, one person may put ambition and achievement at the top and orient their life around excellence and success, while another puts contentment and balance at the top, orienting around peace and simplicity. Neither is superior. The key is being honest with yourself. What lights your inner fire? What kind of person do you want to be above all? Man, that was rough. Note to self, never have windowed combat experience, even with boars in your own valley. Anyway, so next, step 3 is define what each core value means to you. Once you have, say, your top 3 to 5 values, or even 2, if you followed Brene Brown's challenge, write a short description of what each means to you in your own words. This is important because broad terms can mean different things to different people. For instance, if you choose freedom as a core value, does it mean personal independence, creative freedom of expression, financial freedom, the freedom to roam the world? Define it. And if you choose kindness, does that entail compassion, empathy, and how you treat people daily? If integrity does that mean that it's always telling the truth or generally acting in alignment with your moral principles even when nobody is watching, or perhaps both? By articulating the meaning, you make the value concrete and actionable. You might even come up with a little mantra or statement for each. For example, family. I prioritize my loved ones and being present for them, no matter what. Creativity. I seek to bring imagination and originality into everything I do, and to appreciate art and beauty in life. These statements will be useful later when we talk about living your values because they give you a clear target to aim for. Take your time with this refining process, by the way. It might be done in a day, or you might mull it over for weeks, adjusting it as you get more insight. Sometimes discussing it with a friend or a coach helps. Though be careful and not to let somebody talk you into values that aren't really yours. Remember, this is your inner compass for calibrating. And they will be moving in the direction of their inner compass, right? And not on purpose. That's their core value, right? So here's a mini meditation, listening to your heart. Let's pause for a short guided meditation to consolidate what we've uncovered. Sit comfortably and close your eyes if you're able. Again, not while you're driving, please. Take a few deep breaths, letting your mind quiet down. Now, bring to mind the values you've identified. Maybe you have a few words floating in your awareness right now, like honesty, love, faith, courage, creativity, or others. See each value in your mind's eye, almost as if they're stars in your personal night sky. These are stars by which you navigate. Pick one core value that feels especially vital for you right now and focus on it gently. Inhale. And on the exhale, silently say the name of that value. For example, inhale, then exhale, thinking compassion. Do this a few times. Notice how it feels in your body to affirm this value. You might feel warmth, a lightness, maybe a sense of resolve or peace. Now imagine living fully in accordance with this value today. See yourself going through the rest of your day with this value guiding every action. How do you interact with others? How do you handle your work or tasks? How do you talk to yourself? Visualize a specific scenario. If you like, perhaps a common challenge. And imagine responding with your family or with your value firmly in mind. Now, gently let go of that image and return your breath. Remind yourself that this value and others you hold dear are always within you, ready to guide you. They are like a compass needle pointing north, even if sometimes we wander. Set an intention that you will remember to check in, with this inner compass as you move forward. You already have the wisdom within you to make choices aligned with your values. So how do you feel? Often, such a visualization leaves people with a sense of clarity or empowerment. Sometimes it brings up some realizations. Maybe you've noticed, wow, I haven't been honoring this value lately much as I want to. And that's okay. Today is a new day. Every moment is an opportunity to steer back toward true norm. So, from definition to action. By now, you have a clearer sense of your core values and why they're important. The next step, which we'll cover in the upcoming episodes, is living by those values consistently, even when life makes it challenging. That's one thing to say. It's one thing to say, I value honesty. It's another to actually tell the truth in a tough situation. We'll talk about building the courage and habits to align your everyday actions with your ideals. We'll also draw on the wisdom of various traditions to inspire us. You might be surprised how many cultures and philosophies across time and geography converge on the importance of living values-driven life. So before we move on, or end this episode, I should say, give yourself credit. Doing this introspective work isn't always easy. If you followed along, you've begun the process of self-discovery that many people never take the time to do. You're tuning into your inner compass, sharpening its direction. This self-knowledge is powerful. As the ancient Chinese philosopher Confucius said, to know what is right and not to do it is the worst cowardice. Identifying what is right for you is the first step, and you've taken it. Next, we'll gather inspiration and guidance on acting on the knowledge from some of the greatest minds in human history. And for that, we'll wait for tomorrow, because we're going to have to split this one up. An hour is pretty good for this topic, and it gives you an opportunity to use those. I heard the boar try to attack, so I have to run from it because I really want to attack it. Anyway. So taking this first step and actually creating or defining those values is really good. And remember, this ties into everything I've done so far. This is probably the foundation of critical thinking for you, right? In critical thinking, you want to ensure that you have your values, your core values, in line and solid. They're your foundation, if you will, the core of your being. So keep that in mind as well as we go into. I think I can make it tomorrow. I have work, but I think I do not have any meetings, so I am going to continue at this point tomorrow. But yeah, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. Are these important? Do you feel they're important? Have I convinced you? Did I give you a good argument that they are important? I mean, self-help is just there's a lot of cheese that is associated with the term self-help. But understanding, I went too far. But understanding yourself is huge. It's a big deal. And if you don't feel comfortable, maybe, just maybe, it's because you're going against your own values, right? And that's a big deal if you think about it. If you feel terrible or your health is deteriorating, maybe it's because you're literally fighting yourself. And like I said, I hadn't had time to do this exercise, so I'm going to, after the podcast, more than likely I'll be performing it myself. And like I said, use the neutral tools at your disposal. Meaning, I don't want to do that. Meaning, don't think that AI's going to take your information. Because honestly, it depends on which AI. And I trust ChatGPT, and I trust which one? ChatGPT and Grok. Honestly, they're going to use my information, but they're not going to attribute it to me. So I'd rather, but it's still a neutral point for me, right? So I can ask it without having to bother my family. And like I said, during the podcast, we can ask people for sure. That's not a big deal. But if they have core values, they're going to measure your core value based on their core values. Everybody does it. It's not a bad thing. It's not a negative. It's not a slight. However, if you want to get a neutral, unbiased look at it, just ask an AI. All right. With all that said, I'm going to end it here, and we will have the outro. Remember to follow me on X, follow me on LinkedIn, contact me on YouTube, or comment in the comment section, please. Like, share, and subscribe, and hit that notification that notification bell. I do put these on Rumble when I have when it's time, so I do have a Rumble account as well. So with all that said, we'll see you tomorrow. Until then, depending on where you are in the world and when you're listening to this, have a great day or have a good night. And we'll be thinking about you.
With every step, a lesson learned. From fire's heat to the fields I've turned. The blade and bow, the forge and flame. I sharpen my skills, I play the game. Each day brings a challenge I must face. I train my hands with careful grace. From alchemy's art to the hunter's way, I'll find the strength to seize the day. I carve my path, I walk the line, in the shadow of the ancient sign. Through trial and toil, I'll find my way, learning more with each passing day. The skill of survival, the will to thrive, in a world where the strong survive. I'll face the night, I'll take the chance. I'm ready to fight, to learn to dance. For every strike and every fall, I'm building my strength, I'm standing tall. In the heart of the wild and the calm of the night, I gather my skills, I'm ready to fight. From the herbs I find to the iron I mold, each lesson learned is a story told. The stars above, they guide my hand. As I hone my craft, I take my stand. In the quiet woods, in the mountains chill, I push myself, I shape my will. With each new tool and every lore, I'm stronger now than I was before. I carve my path, I walk the line, in the shadow of the ancient sign. Through trial and toil, I'll find my way, learning more with each passing day. The skill of survival, the will to thrive, in a world where the strong survive. I'll face the night, I'll take the chance. I'm ready to fight, to learn to dance. For every strike and every fall, I'm building my strength, I'm standing tall. In the heart of the wild and the calm of the night, I gather my skills, I'm ready to fight. The road is long, but I won't turn back. The lessons I learned keep me on track. With each new skill, the stronger I grow. In the face of the storm, I let my courage show. I've tasted defeat, I felt the sting, but I rise again with each new spring. For knowledge is power, and wisdom the key. I'm forging my path, I'm breaking free. The skill of survival, the will to thrive, in a world where the strong survive. I'll face the night, I'll take the chance. I'm ready to fight, to learn to dance. For every strike and every fall, I'm building my strength, I'm standing tall. In the heart of the wild and the calm of the night, I gather my skills, I'm ready to fight.